Okay, guys, we've come a long ways. Um, you have an idea of the pyramid, of what's going on here. We've covered the awareness. We've covered a little bit of the mechanics. And so now we're gonna take a little detour here. We're gonna go around. I know that it's kind of like I haven't really unwrapped this yet. You guys know about a little bit about the plan. I've touched on it. I'm sure you have kind of an idea, but I'm gonna surprise you on a little bit of it. Hopefully, it will give you some insights that you didn't have. But I'm going to go the other way around here. We haven't really got into the absolutes. I did give you a preview of the absolutes, the do's, the 12 touchstones. They're going to be instrumental for you to diagnose, because they are the action steps. I don't like to bother with overanalyzing things that don't mean anything. It's like that front leg. You don't. Yeah, it does get straight. Okay, when you land bent. Okay, that's the only thing you're really focusing on. That's your do. You land bent so that you can shift your energy. Now, when you turn, a byproduct of the turn will be it'll straighten out. But it's not. It's not like if you were going to throw something heavy into a truck, you would think, I'm going to straighten this front leg out. Okay, here I go. I'm going to straighten it out. Well, it's just going to ruin it. You're going to leak. Okay, so it's not a do. And so what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to get caught up in things that aren't important. So we're gonna go from we went from the variables. We talked a little bit about the 5 phases of hitting, which is just scratching the surface of the mechanics, but it's time right now to go out there now and give you a little, idea of what's going on with the rest of these, so I can really get into these and you'll learn about it. So we're going to go into the plan today, and which is kind of an exciting thing, because that was a course changer for me. As soon as I got the plan, a lot of these things came alive to me. One thing I want you guys to avoid, like I said, is the technique talk. Just listen. It's been a long time since the beginning. It's been about 3 weeks now, but it's like I haven't given you anything in my mind. It's like I've just begun, and so I'm going to flood you with things now. And I've waited, for a lot of reasons, but one big primary reason is I want to make sure that you guys are really solid on the ideas that I'm giving you, like going forward only. It's like, let me just give you one last thing. If you're not convinced with this, then you know what? Then you're not gonna hear what I'm saying. If you're not gonna hear what I'm saying, that's fine. Because when we start getting into the absolutes and the timing, you have to start. You can't just know it in theory. You have to feel it. It's like, because the adventure is it's like explaining a color, the color red, to someone who's born blind. You can't describe it unless you experience it. And so when we get to the timing, and then we get to the, really in the plan too, which is some of the things I'm going to show you, and the absolutes especially, because they are the movements. For example, when I show you how to cut the corner, right? And some of you are going to want to move on to the next step where you get certified, okay? What's involved with that is that I need to make sure that you're on board with this, that you understand the movements. Now, the hitting Tai Chi will help. That's something that it's probably a bridge too far in this, so I'm not going to be covering that. But it's the movements. For example, if I were to that you fire like you're throwing a frisbee, or you cut the corner, throwing the kettlebell, or whatever we're going to use as an explanation. But the whole kind of thing, like slap the midget, right? He's right there, and he's right there. Listen to me. I'm not PC at all, I guess, right? Okay, so I can't see this. If I see this, you don't feel it, because there's some drills that I'm going to show you when we really get into the mechanics. I'm going to show you a series of drills and things that you need to practice. You need to feel it for yourself. But for example, one of the things I do is I put the heavy ball, like a basketball, up on the tee, and I don't think this is going to stand. That's not going to. But I'll use this one here. Use this one. Okay, so it's up there. And when you do this, you walk up, but you want to use a heavy ball. And you walk up, you basically walk up to it, and your power is behind your ass, and behind your scapula. As you pull your arm behind your back. Remember, your front arm or front side, everything goes around your body. There isn't anything that goes out, okay, out away from your body like this. The swing goes around your body, all right? So you might think, oh, well, that's going out and around. Well, no, it's not, because if I keep shifting, yeah, I might be outside the ball a little bit, but if I keep shifting, boom, it's going to come right around the corner. So my power is going to be behind me. If I was in a fight and I wanted to hit somebody like that, I'm stronger like that than I am like this. Okay, there's no strength here. There's no strength there. The strength is here. It's behind you. Okay, so when you're going to hit something heavy, there's a drill you'll see. You just have to learn this where you can feel yourself on the ball without pulling off. Another drill that I do, so it looks like this. Of course. Another, more? Okay. Thinking Abbott Costello here. All right. So coming up here, I'm going to go nice and easy. It's like that versus there's a really good drill that I do. It's you get a real soft ball, and I'll show you what I mean on another day. But you can put it on a hitting tee. It's best when you have someone throw them to you, underhand. And so they're being thrown to you, and what happens is your natural instinct is to go like this first, and you won't be able to hit a ball. Literally, you can go on any team and get the number 3 hitter, and they'll come up there and act like they know what they're doing, and they'll open up slightly, and they won't even be able to hit the ball. Okay, the only way you're going to hit it is if you stay closed and smoke it. So you should be able to hit it in any direction that you want to hit it. So here comes the ball. You want to hit it over there. You got to wait and hit it like that. You want to hit up the middle. It's here. You want to pull it, stand there and you pull it. But if you do any of this, if you do that at all, you're done. And you have to feel that because your players need you. Your players need you to feel it. That's why I can look at a player and in 5 seconds I know what's going on. I know what's going on because I can feel it. And I want you guys to feel it. I really do. I want you guys to feel what I'm doing or what you're doing so that when you have the opportunity to help your players, that you're going to be, a cut above the other coaches that they've ever had. I want them to have you to have a lasting impression on them, not just as a great guy, but the guy who actually knew what was going on, the information that's far above. I mean, not only are you smart guys, but you need to be known as the guys not only are up on the latest information about neuroscience and things like that, but you guys actually know the feel stuff. I really want you guys to avoid the technique talk. For instance, okay, this is kind of I don't know if this is a good example or not, but let's say there's a carpenter and he's building a deck, right? So he's hammering nails in the deck. It wouldn't make sense to look at the guy and wonder, okay, what's he doing when he's hammering? You start to wonder what his swing technique is and how it feels, and argue about what this feels like when what angles the hammer is at lag or whatever. Because the fact is, he's building a deck. Look at the big picture. The motivating force for every mechanical move is to change your focus or to have the right focus, the right perspective. So if you realize that he's building a deck, then the next thing he has that in his mind, of course, because he's following the plans, and then he's going to drive the nails. He's on a higher level. He's not going to be thinking of the mechanics of driving the nail because it's already in the automatic mind. While we're talking about awareness, because that's what this is, I want to tell you guys we've talked about the automatic mind and how it's such a powerful resource and that it processes information 1,000,000 times faster than your conscious mind. And you'll hear people say, oh, you don't want to think, you want to stay in your subconscious. Okay, that's true and not true, okay? Your subconscious was not meant to run the show. Your subconscious is not in charge. Your conscious mind is, okay? Even though you're only who you are, your conscious mind about 5% of the time, the rest of you, the rest of what you express to the world, 95% of the things that go out there into the world are automatic mind things. They're habits, the things that don't take any effort. When you get up in the morning and you had breakfast, don't think that was conscious. You have habits. Some small choices in there, about 5% of it is conscious, but the rest, you're aware of what's going on. And I'm not saying about that conscious, but I'm just saying that you tend to just go with what you like. So I'm defining that the 95% are things, are preferences, things you like, things that work effortlessly. When you try to discern what someone's saying, we think, of course, that we're sitting there nice and quiet, listening, absorbing, and taking things in. But really what we're doing is we're projecting what we think someone's saying, because it's a shortcut. It's a shortcut. It's like one of those games where you start saying, a sentence, and then there's a word that everyone knows if it's an obvious sentence, and now I can't, I don't really want to take the time to think of obvious sentences. Stupid. But the point is that you're always projecting, and if it doesn't line up with what you're hearing, then you project something else again. If that doesn't line up, you project it again, but you do it so fast. You do it as fast as you project when you got into the batter's box, when you were hitting soft toss, and you were managing all those variables without thinking. You got in there and you projected 8 or 9 things. The trajectory, the arm swing, all that stuff. That's what we do. That's how you live your life, with habits. And they're either going to be good habits or bad habits. And that's what the automatic mind really is, essentially is. It's everything that we do to filter out. Because our conscious minds, for every neuron that picks up movement, for example, for every neuron that picks up movement, we have 2 neurons that suppress the motion. So we have neurons that are specifically designed to pick up movement and motion, and twice the neurons that suppress the movement, so we can be narrow focused like a predator and not be distracted. We can have some tunnel vision on what we're doing and not get distracted. Just as a thought, that's what they think autism is, where they don't have that filter. Everything just comes in, and they just can't process all the loud noises or all the. So if you're driving and you were to absorb everything, it would just, you'd be freaking out, because anybody driving alongside of you, you'd be over concerned about what they're doing. So the point is that your subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful. So why did I take all that time to explain that about the automatic mind? I did this because it is not supposed to be in charge, but it is an asset to manage. It is an asset. It's this thing that houses your potential. You have 1,000,000 times the potential of what you are. And it's this resource that you can tap into. And we've all done it, right? But in order to do this, in order to tap into that resource, you have to understand that. You have to know that, so that you consciously decide, to learn these things in order, so that as we stretch things out and we go from 12 feet hitting soft toss, when we stretch it out to 60 feet, now all of a sudden we can't manage the variables. Now it's time that we need to take an inventory on what's giving us some problems. So we talked a little bit about the mechanics. The mechanics are going to come up with everything that we do, and the mechanics involve the timing, the ride and stride, and there's so many things that means. So I'm going to just leave it alone at the 5 phases of hitting. Don Slott with Right View Pro has 6, because he talks about a negative move, but all that is, they're just street signs. They're just street signs to say where you are and what you look like and what you've been doing. But a negative move is not a negative move this way. A negative move is you're going forward and you're twisted. It's twisted as you're going forward. It's not negative move here. Now, you know what? If you have any lasting inclinations or any feelings or reservations about this going back first, just think about this. If you got in the batter's box and you had your arm above your head like this, and the guy's throwing a side, let's say, and you're just saying, hey, mind if I walk in? Sure, okay. So now I'm standing here. All right. Now he goes assholes and elbows, release, and all I get to do is like skip a rock, throw this thing, and I got to throw it, and I got to hit a ball where I would hit it with a bat. Okay. So think of it. I'm ready. And it's easier to think of throwing, but there's no way throwing that we go like this, back and forth. No, there's no way. We're just going to go, right? So here it is, assholes and elbows, release, boom, and then we fire it. It's one direction. Release, and then we do fire. Release, fire. And what do? We go from here, we line up our levers, same thing. Release, we line up our levers. Everything can be done going forward, all right? So just put it to rest. Trust me, I distilled the information so into an experience. And if you just experience it for yourself, if you just use the examples and just get away, one thing you might be worried about is someone coming up to you and saying, well, what about this? Or what if? Listen, trust me that there's a continual flow of examples for what I'm saying about these movements, okay? There's a continual flow. These movements are movements that express how someone who uses his body well, if you're going to wrestle or you're going to do whatever, you're strong. You're not going like this. And if I'm going to wrestle someone, grab someone, throw them over here, I'm not going to go like that. Come on. So let's just put it to rest here. Okay. Next. So I'm going to go from the mechanics. And we're going to talk about the Major League plan. I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm going to wrap this up once I get through the plan here. And then I'm going to move on and talk about timing. And that'll be a relatively short lesson. Not short, but it'll be something at least that you'll be able to look at later, and you won't have to watch a huge video to find out where the talk was about timing or where the talk was about the plan. And so you know what? I'm gonna just cut it right there and come back to you with the plan, and it'll be the next video. Okay? See ya.